Great show, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We are joined now by Tina Hemond, the editor of the Massachusetts Conservative Feminist blog, and a contributor to this program, and who stands guard on the Western Outpost near Chicopee, defending all things right. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning, Tina. Nice to hear from you.
Likewise.
So has this been a crazy week for you? I've been scanning your blog this week. There's presidential issues. People are in, people are out. People are going to make a decision today. I noticed you've been polling and you've been writing about that. And then, of course, we chatted last night about talking a little bit about Israel. I don't even know where to begin, Tina.
There's so much. I mean, there's so many different battles going on at the same time that it's really difficult to pull one over another. And the presidential, I think, race, which is, in my opinion, honestly, prematurely being manufactured by the media itself because they need something to write about. Prior to this 2008 election, decisions really weren't made until midsummer. Sometimes as late as, I believe, Bush in 1999 formally announced in August, or before he started even showing up for debates. I mean, one or the other. It's one of those things where it's like they're pushing candidates to run earlier.
So who's pushing that, Tina? Is that
the Democratic Party? Actually, no. The Democratic Party in 2007 decided to start moving along earlier than the norm with Barack Obama. From that point forward, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump before the networks had scheduled all these debates. So it's something rather recent in historical context rather than the norm. So it's not unusual when they keep saying, why aren't they announcing? Because they really don't need to announce. They don't need to announce until June. They can form committees or not, but they really don't need to announce until, say, June or July even, and then just jump into the race.
But, Tina, the calculus has changed, though, in terms of fundraising.
Well, in terms of fundraising. But when you look at some of the people that haven't announced, who have PACs that have millions of dollars behind them, and they know that they're prolific fundraisers, they haven't announced yet. And so, I mean, I would look right now, sometime between now and June, for Palin to make an announcement, for example.
We have 535 days before the election in November 2012, and it's said that these candidates have to raise something in the area of $1 billion. That's $2 million a day.
I
How
hear you.
can we do that?
In this economy, I don't know how well we'll do. I was looking this morning, you see, the LA Times had an interesting article about fundraising and how Obama and Romney lead the pack in fundraising, basically saying that Romney pulled in approximately $10 million in pledges in one day. That was that 8-hour telethon he had over there in Las Vegas. And then they go on to say they expect Obama to raise like millions, $1 million here, $1 million there. And he's raised $750 million in 2008. But he did a fundraiser in Boston on Wednesday where he reportedly raised $2 million. Now, that's the sitting president raising $2 million in a Boston fundraiser, whereas there you have Mitt Romney, who hasn't, really formally announced, out there raising $10 million in 8 hours. So obviously there's a slight disparity going on here as to who really has the clout and who doesn't. I don't know if funds are going to be a factor as much as they try to pretend it will be. I mean, the last time Obama had so much money left over, he opened his own TV station, or program on one of the networks and had a half-hour thing going on, Obama 24/7, which I don't know if it even had ratings. But that said, it just brings you back to who can win without money, and you sit there and you look at what happened with Mike Huckabee in Iowa, for example, in 2008. He spent $80,000, Mitt Romney spent millions, and Romney trumped him all over the state based on who built the best ground organization, who has the most
And that's the key, too, I think, when you look back, and I think one of the great advantages that Romney has got is that he did run last time around, and there are a lot of track has been laid.
Name recognition is huge. You need somebody that has the ability to go out there and be charismatic, which sometimes works against Mr. Romney. Just my opinion, mind you, but he's the perfect man. And a lot of people look at him and go, they don't even look at policy. They just look at him and go, that's the quarterback in high school who I hated. I mean, he's got to ruffle his hair or do something, mess up his image.
I've noticed he's shed his necktie more frequently than ever before, and it still looks a little preppy to me.
He needs to roll up the shirt sleeves maybe a little bit and show up in a pair of jeans.
Boy, I tell you, I hear what you're saying. I want that guy. I want that type of leader in Washington. I was reading something in the Wall Street Journal this week by Kim Strassel, and this is a quote from hers. And she says, conservative and grassroots voters want the White House, but they want something more. They and independent voters have spent a decade watching the GOP wander in the policy wilderness. They don't want just a choice. They want a leader, someone who will define a vision of the future.
Hey, Tina, we got to take a break right here. We'll be back just right after the CBS News. Please stay with us here on WCRN, True Talk AM 830. Good morning, everybody.
Disintegrating. This whole crazy world is just too frustrating, and you tell me over and over and over again, my friend.
CBS News Update. I'm Peter King. The Mississippi River is receding in Mississippi. People who live there know there's a long way to go.
We've always lived by the whims of Old Man River, and this is just another chapter in the history of Vicksburg.
Further down near Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Coast Guard has shut down the Big River for about 5 miles after a tugboat lost control of its barges. Commander Quincy Davis.
For the safety of the mariners, the river will remain closed until the location of all the barges have been confirmed and a safe navigable waterway has been established.
WWL's Dave Cohen.
This is exactly the kind of thing officials have feared. Barges or ships out of control flying down the Mississippi River. Officials fear that a ship or a barge that loses steering could slam into a levee and burst it wide open, causing catastrophic flooding. The good news is these barges didn't hit the levee, but did sink in the Mississippi River, forcing crews to shut down the channel.
CBS News Update, I'm Peter King.
You're listening to True Talk, AM 830 WCRN. It is currently 55 degrees in Worcester and 54 degrees in Boston at 6:32 on this Saturday morning, May 21st. Good morning. I'm Derek LaRue, filling in for Bob Hokinson this morning. 2 Massachusetts residents pleaded not guilty in a case that authorities are calling the biggest fare evasion scheme in the history of Boston's transit agency. Andres Towns was ordered held on $250,000 bail after pleading not guilty in Salem District Court yesterday to charges including larceny. Gloria Escobar was also ordered held on bail. It was $100,000 on the same charges. Prosecutors say Towns worked at a company that produces passes for the MBTA and created about $4 million worth of counterfeit MBTA passes that were sold online at discounted rates. Investigators say Escobar helped deliver them to buyers. A key witness in the federal corruption trial, former Mass House Speaker Salvador DeMasi, has wrapped up its testimony. Defense attorneys for DeMasi and his 2 co-defendants, Richard McDonough and Richard Vitale, again try to portray former software salesman Joseph Lally as a liar, tax cheat, and compulsive gambler whose testimony could not be trusted. The trial is expected to resume next week. Olympic skier Nancy Kerrigan says she and her family are eager for her brother's manslaughter trial to come to an end. Kerrigan and her family have supported her brother Mark Kerrigan as he stands trial in the death of the skater's father, Daniel Kerrigan. Members of the family, including Nancy, have attended every day of the trial. The testimonies have wrapped up yesterday, and the jury is expected to begin deliberating on Monday following closing arguments. WCR News Time is 6:33. The WCRN AccuWeather forecast calls for mostly sunny skies for your Saturday, with highs getting up to 70 degrees. For tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 40s. For Sunday, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds during the day, with highs in the 60s. And on Monday, a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the upper 60s. It is currently 55 degrees in Worcester and 54 in Boston. In sports, the Red Sox defeated the Chicago Cubs last night by the score of 15-5. Adrian Gonzalez had 4 hits and 4 RBIs, and Kevin Youkilis had 2 doubles and a 2-run home run. The Sox and Cubs will continue the 3-game series tonight. You can hear the game right here on AM 830 WCRN with the pregame show beginning at 6 p.m. And the Boston Bruins will continue their Eastern Conference Finals with Tampa Bay Lightning this afternoon. With Game 4 down in Tampa, the Bruins have the opportunity to take a 3-1 lead back into Boston. WCRN News Time is 6:34. It is 55 degrees in Worcester, 54 in Boston. I'm Derek LaRue here on your news talk station, your true talk station, AM 830, WCRN.
Honey, have you noticed how badly the deck was damaged this past winter?
No, let me take a look. Wow, you're right. It really looks bad. What should we do?
We need to call the deck doctors.
Have the elements taken a toll on your deck? Then you should call the Deck Doctors at 508-579-8697. They have the experience, the technology to make your deck look new again. The Deck Doctors specialize in pressure washing, the stripping and reapplying of stains, and they offer a complete line of weatherproof sealants. If structural repairs are needed, they can replace from just a few boards to a set of stairs or even the whole deck. So call the Deck Doctors today, and when the work is done, you'll be able to enjoy your deck again for years to come.
Honey, now the deck looks great. Let's make plans for a big barbecue.
That's a great idea. But I want to get the house pressure washed first. The deck doctors do that too. What was their number again?
Here it is. Write it down. 508-579-8697.
Thanks. 508-579-8697.
Buying, selling, or refinancing your home. That's what we're talking about. The I Sold My House Real Estate Show with Joe Mangiacotti. Saturdays at 2 on True Talk AM 830 WCRN.
Winter is finally over and the snow piles are gone. Now on Route 146, you can see the Sutton Plaza again. Located at 160 Worcester Providence Turnpike, where Boston Road crosses at the only traffic light on Route 146. Drive into the parking lot. Check out all the different businesses. You'll be amazed at what you can find. Integrity Personnel can help you find a new job or a new employee, and they have over 35 years of combined experience. Mercor Realty can help you with all your real estate needs, and they have customers looking to lease or buy land right now. Leahy and Casabula LLC is a great law firm. They can assist you with all those real estate transactions. Bagels and Kebabs serves great food in a family atmosphere, BYOB, and they're open 7 days a week, 6:30 to 7 p.m. Sutton Wine and Liquors, with over 10,000 bottles of wine in stock, a huge selection of microbrews, a wide variety of cheese, specialty meats and breads, even fine cigars. So the next time you're at that light on 146, take a few minutes, visit these businesses at Sutton Plaza.
True Talk 830 WCRN and WCRNradio.com. Giggity giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
Bring me sunshine in your smile. Make me happy all the while.
Yeah, we got to play a little more of that later on this morning. We got a lot to cover today, but that's a great little song I came across on YouTube after a week of rain and just like every 5 minutes something more depressing on the news. So, well, Tom, let's get back to Tina, who's still on the phone with us. Good morning, Tina. Thanks for calling and staying with us.
Oh, no problem. I like that song. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's really great. You got to look it up. It's Derek. Who's the? It's a group from UK. Real quickly.
Yeah, the name of the group is the Jive Aces, and the song is called "Bring Me Sunshine."
Yeah, real nice.
All right, very appropriate.
We could get some sunshine in the race, and maybe some sunshine for Israel.
If there's one person that can bring sunshine into your life, it is Tina Hemond.
Yes.
So Tina.
Buttering up to the guests, are we?
Well, she's so nice.
Yes, I know she is.
And if you met her personally, you would feel the same way, Derek.
Well, I have not, but I'm already very impressed.
Right, gentlemen, I'm just blushing here. So,
we can see that.
Yes.
Tina, are Americans, in your mind, are they schizophrenic? I mean, we want fresh faces in politics, yet we demand this political experience. We revere certain public figures to the degree that we overlook their transgressions. I mean, we had this issue with Governor Schwarzenegger and Dominique Strauss-Kahn. I mean, all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, incredible revelations and scandals going on.
The thing is that although we may be a little bit schizophrenic, I think a lot of voters are more realist than one would give them credit for, just based on the fact that, the people are starting to look at somebody and they're going, do they have experience? I think that's going to be a big issue. Have they governed? Do they have experience? Going forward into the 2012 race. Although it does appear that way, especially depending on the demographic. When Trump was fooling around with the race, let's say, I was polling the man on the street, basically literally walking into grocery stores, and I have no compunction about who I talk to. So I just bluntly ask people questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And what I found was that Trump was extremely popular because he said what he thought. He wasn't politically Washington, and he impressed the yet to vote and the 17-year-old crowd, and those that had voted for Obama, the 24-year-olds, for one reason and one reason only. And this is the scariest thing I had learned from this whole experience. Because he was a bigger celebrity. Not because they knew anything about his policies, not because they had read anything at all, just because he was a bigger celebrity. So that kind of, you have two different demographics here that are at play. So the person that comes across as the biggest celebrity, apparently, has the youth vote.
Well, that's a shame.
It is a shame. But how much do they really learn about civics? How much, when you look at the Newsweek citizenship poll where they gave people tests, a dismal number, like 35% of high school students could pass that test. And that's really frightening when you really, really come down to it. So it's hard to say.
Well, in a country where we're struggling to get 50% of the people out to vote in a presidential election, and forget about these special elections that we had. John, what was the turnout in the Worcester 6th? Was it over 20%?
I believe, yes, it was.
But just barely.
I'll tell you, the one that was really saddening to me was just the complete lack of involvement in Middlesex 10th. With all the media attention and everything that was going on in Worcester 6th, there was a pretty strong turnout. But, boy, you people who live in Watertown, Waltham, and Newton in that particular district
didn't do democracy any service here.
Boy, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
So, Tina, when you're talking to people in the supermarket, you're talking to the youth, there's a pretty high chance that they're not going to vote anyway.
The thing is, I think what motivates them to vote, and I'll be honest with you, is the more exciting the candidate appears to be, as in, just referring to a blog I did, and just, back in March of 2010. Leno and Letterman were competing with the 2012 frontrunners, at the time, which were Palin and Romney. And my closing argument was that, they were going straight for the late night talk show, and the hosts were vying for the ratings, pulling up the top of the tickets at the time. And what would better serve the American public to late night appearances? Most likely a reality television show, Survivor 2012. So let's get them out there and put them on reality TV. I think Mike Huckabee just mentioned that the other day, after he had pulled out of the race, that, they might as well just do a reality television show. It's obvious, with obvious disgust. But, in all reality, that's what it is. When you take a look at, the debate process and the way the media treats the candidates, looking for the latest scandals, and getting back to what you said about the perfection of the candidates. People are looking for somebody that just doesn't exist. I think in my mind, I don't know if it's the people or if it's the media and a certain segment of the GOP looking for that perfect, flawless candidate. And I think people on the street prefer somebody that is not flawless. They want somebody that has had a little bit of experience, that has made mistakes, that understands what's going on with the world. And that's why I'm looking around and seeing what you've got right now. We've got Herman Cain coming out, and he's a pretty interesting character, that Herman Cain.
Yeah.
But, as far as his, I'm reading an AP article that came out this morning. He's definitely been, involved in politics on the fringe, since the early 1967. But, you know, as a small businessman, as a, you know, a very larger businessman, franchisers, but looking at what he gives as far as his content, if you watch those debates, the content was more red meat, you know, so he was more of a red meat candidate, you know, like let's just keep throwing the barbs without a lot of content. Pawlenty actually came out pretty good. So did Santorum in that debate that was hosted by Fox, I believe. But we missed seeing, you know, the people that would really get up there and spar, you know, the Palins. I'd like to see Romney up against Sarah Palin. I think that would be an interesting debate.
What would be, in your mind, we're kind of unfortunately running low on time, but what would be your dream ticket? And not even necessarily top and bottom of the ticket, but if you had to pair contenders together, either announced or would be, how would you stack those up from your experience now?
Stack them up. Right now I see two left in the field. One has not yet, both of them haven't really officially announced, that I think would be a good team. I mean, you know, this is just based on what I've seen, understanding that there's a certain tier of candidates that aren't going to make it. You and I both know that because of your finances or because of demographics and geography and age.
But they could come back. They could come back in as the vice presidential candidate if they brought.
Well, I don't see Ron Paul happening there. You know, with all due respect to the man, you know, he's a libertarian, and I just don't see him in flying at all. Discounting, I'm not ready to discount Pawlenty that much, although he's a bit dry. I mean, he could surprise you. I don't see Mitch Daniels coming in without his wife's permission. That already doesn't do much for me. So, you know, with looking at what's left and who seems to be polling as high, if you put I'm thinking I'm reading an article as I'm talking. If you put Romney and Palin on the same ticket, you have everything covered. And I'm thinking from a pragmatic point of view, Romney appeals to those that are not ultra-conservative. So he can pick up the independent vote, and he can pick up the North and the West and along the fringe coast, you know. You put Palin on there, and she's the red meat. She's the one that can say everything that Mitt Romney's not supposed to say. She can raise the fund, and she can rile up the base, of which is pretty hefty. And she also has the evangelical appeal going on. So a ticket like that would work, in my mind. And it's not because I'm a feminist. And if I were, I'd be putting her on the top of the ticket, true to my feminist theory. And yes, it's not an oxymoron.
Aren't you proud of my son?
Well, yes, it's a big word, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, nobody can co-opt feminism. I mean, I was a bra-burning feminist in the 60s, and, you know, now I'm a conservative feminist. I mean, it doesn't change my desire to have equal pay, for example, which still doesn't exist, no matter how many times somebody brings a bill in and defeats it. Mostly on the Democrat side, just an FYI. It's not the Republicans that don't want to pay us. So anyway, or put us in higher office. So that's one of the things that I think would make that a decent ticket. You know, as a dream ticket, I don't have one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really disappointed that Trump and Huckabee bowed out, because I really like those two guys because they made it so absurd sometimes. And,
well, there'd be some sparks flying, certainly, with the Donald involved. There's no question about that.
I mean, I think that would have made... But now that we're down to reality, okay, because I think that's where we're at now. We're down to reality. And to be honest with you, I've been back out polling, and I call people all over the country, and I call a lot of Democrats, because I have a lot of friends that are of that persuasion. And you know that they will pull a ticket. They will pull the lever for Obama and not Obama. There I go again.
Boy.
For Romney. I know I haven't had enough coffee just yet. Yeah.
You're going to confuse me.
I'm sorry. For Romney and Palin, unbelievably so. Even saying, "Don't make me do this," but I have to because I can't vote for Obama again.
Yeah.
And these are Democrats.
Yeah. Well, we see that.
And some of them are left-wing Democrats.
And you know we could
they're not dyed-in-the-wool progressives, though.
You know, we could talk all morning about this week in Israel and the announcement that the president has made.
He blew that. He blew that completely. He has really, really, really stuck his foot.
I just can't imagine how that aligns him anymore with his base. I don't understand the politics of this one at all. Except that there's a misstep.
No, I With his base, yes. With the extreme progressives that are so tied to the Palestinian movement and the one world order and want to get rid of Israel, they don't like democracy to begin with. They prefer anarchy. These people are crazy. Excuse my language, but that's what they are. They're crazy. They have no grasp of reality, and there's no way that the Syrian communism, socialism combined that they adore is going to work. It's utopian ideals. So in the reality of the free market system, that's what we need. That's a proven model. It actually works. It hasn't failed. It works. So, they're the kind of people though that are into the whole Palestinian movement and have no respect or use for Israel, and that's his real true base.
Well, the pronouncement to go back to pre-1967 borders is
Ludicrous.
So out of touch with American foreign policy, and I do believe out of touch with the great mainstream of Americans.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you see news commentators, and I was listening this morning, talking about, how unrealistic it is, and, Netanyahu looked the president straight in the eye and let him have it. I mean,
good for him.
Oh, absolutely, and he did.
Yes, he did. Last time he was here, he got stood up for dinner, didn't he? He had to sit downstairs and eat McDonald's.
And here's not for nothing, but the last time Sarah Palin went to Israel, she went to visit with Netanyahu, and at the same time, one of Obama's front teams went over there. And they were there at the same time, same day, and they didn't get an audience, but he spent a lot of time with Sarah Palin. Yeah. And he specifically snubbed the Obama administration's group there. And it was pretty interesting to see that happening. You already knew there was tension for something he had said or done, and now to add this to the top of it, this is what brought Netanyahu here personally, to look him in the eye and to, in front of the American people, say, you're wrong, and this is what the situation is.
And Netanyahu can certainly say, when I look out my window, I see Syria, and Jordan, and Egypt.
Well, Tina, we got to shift gears here for a second. We're running out of time, so we have to bring two other guests on. Join us again. We really appreciate your insight.
Tina, give us an idea how to get onto your blog site for those who'd like to know more about Tina Hemond.
Well, you can either just Google Tina Hemond and it'll show up. It's a Massachusetts conservative feminist. It's a blog. It's no fringe, no bells, no whistles.